Welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Now, the Executive Chairman of the Local Organizing Committee for the 2023 African Games, Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare, says protesting volunteers for the recently concluded competition were misinformed about their financial packages. Now, the volunteers clashed with the police on Wednesday at the Games Village in Legon over what they believe was a promised package due them. Over 1,000 people availed themselves to serve as volunteers for the organization of the continental event. Exactly 4 days after the end of the Games, the volunteers were asked to depart from their lodges with no financial reward. Now, speaking to Joy Sports, Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare emphasized that the agreement with the personnel included no financial packages.
Of youth and sport.
Yeah. I think it was miscommunication, misunderstanding. They didn't get it well. Me, the first time I met them, I said, give me a definition of volunteers or volunteerism. Go and check the definition. And the communication and the what was given them, the letter given them, yes. There was nothing like monetary consideration or what have you. And I don't think they came in because of consideration. But I think somewhere along the line, they got some of the things wrong. And for instance, yesterday, some of them came to my place, my office. We're going to give them T-shirts, additional T-shirts to go home. They talk about it. I said, well, I was sure that their chairperson was going to arrange their going home. But they didn't have the patience to wait, and you won't fault them too much, because I think when they got evicted, because the hostels that were used, private people. Okay. And when it's a private person and it says your contract ends this time, you have to leave. You see, it wasn't the traditional halls which belong to Legon. These are private.
So now how can the issue be resolved?
So right now they are arranged to give them some money to go home, and I think they also got a lot of things wrong, that we are paying dollars to external volunteers. No external volunteer can. We have external. Yes, and I won't fault them for too much, maybe misunderstanding, and they were misinformed about some of these things. If they had the right information, I'm sure they wouldn't have conducted themselves the way they did. They've been very wonderful, supportive. Wouldn't have been able to run the games without their support as well. One of the key stakeholders. So I will take it like, your daughter or your son has urinated on your tie. You just wipe it and then we'll move on. We'll give them the certificates. We promise them. We wish them the very best. The only sad thing about it is that they've sent a wrong message to foreign countries in case they want to recruit volunteers from Ghana. They will say that this is the perception of Ghanaian volunteers. They want to be paid. So volunteerism everywhere. See the definition, it's free. They should have really taken their time. But I think they will also learn their lessons, and we will also learn our lessons as LOC, as organizers, and we will not bear grudges. We wish them well. We hope our paths will cross again, and maybe all of us will act in a better manner.
Well, some of the volunteers have been responding to this statement by the chairman of the local organizing committee. We'll be speaking to one of them very shortly. But before that, a member of the International Olympics Committee, William Blake, has praised Ghana for the successful organization of the Games. Now, the 3-week event, which came to an end on Saturday, saw over 5,000 athletes turning up for the competition. And according to Blake, the facilities that were used for the hosting of the event were exceptional, alongside the overall organization of the Games.
Youth and sport, the Deputy Minister for Sport, the Chief Director in the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the Chair of the Local Organizing Committee, members of the Local Organizing Committee, the athletes, press, ladies and gentlemen. Mine is really just to give a word of appreciation to the government of Ghana. Honorable Minister, what Ghana has done as a country is really extremely commendable. I think we need to clap for what Ghana as a country has achieved. hosting of these games in these difficult times is really something that has been done in an excellent way. Honorable Minister, we know that hosting has been difficult. There have been limited finances, but the government of Ghana and the leadership of the president insisted that these games must take place. We're aware that there are some countries in the past that have pulled out for hosting games, like Australia for the Commonwealth Games, South Africa for the Commonwealth Games, and others. But Ghana stuck there and produced games which are and have been extremely commendable. When I walked in here, I had a testimony from Namibia, and they were commending the excellent facilities built by Ghana for these games. This morning, I heard a journalist from Nigeria on Joy FM, and they were giving testimony to the facilities we have in Ghana. These are true world-class facilities in Ghana, and this is commendable. Very few African countries in Africa have these type of facilities, and this is a bonus for the development of sports in Ghana and hosting of future international events. These games were incident-free, Honorable Minister. To host big games and have incident-free is really a big plus to this country for the security and for the organizing committee for the planning and everything they've done. Honorable Minister, the legacy of these games is so important, and we must capitalize on what we can do for Ghana moving forward. These world-class facilities will allow this country to host more international events. The President of Ghana spoke of the national games. Again, this is part of the legacy that is coming from these games. Honorable Minister, I thank you and your deputy, the LOC, and everyone at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and everyone who was involved in these games for the hard work. It's been a very difficult task, an extremely steep hill that we had to climb. The negativity that was in the press in the beginning was something very difficult to bear. But against all odds, we stood up and we delivered these games. Ladies and gentlemen, please, can we give a round of applause to Ghana as a country for hosting these wonderful games. Thank you very much.
William Blake, member of the International Olympics Committee. Now, one of the volunteers, Bright, has joined us in studio. Bright Kwame Avuto. He was one of the volunteers, one of the over 1,000 volunteers who turned up to help in the successful organization of the game. So he joins me in studio to just react to what the local organizing committee chair has been saying. Bright, good to have you in studio. I mean, let's just get to it now. First of all, what were the promises you were given when you were asked, when you got to be part of the volunteers? What did they tell you they will give you?
Yes, so first of all, before the program started, we were called 2 weeks earlier. We were taken through some training throughout the 2 weeks. Good. So they made us understood that volunteerism is actually working freely and not expecting anything in return. But then, at the end of the day, if you can take advantage of it, you will benefit more, as in networking and what have you. Yeah. But then along the line, there were promises, like they have packages for us that at the end of the game will be given to.
And do you recall which people made these promises to you?
I've forgotten his name, but this man used to address us a lot.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name. So he came that night, with a mic, talking to us, and was like, they have packages that will blow our mind off. So everybody should take heart. So the next day, everything was done. We were just expecting our packages. And unfortunately, we didn't hear from them. So some of the volunteers, took to the street, started talking, agitating. So that's how come the police people came in trying to give warning shot and stuff.
But in terms of the specifics, though, they said they will give you packages that will blow your mind.
Yes, please.
In terms of the specifics, what did they say, and when was this communicated to you? Was this before or during the games?
Okay, so this was addressed to us right after the game, that night.
Okay, Saturday night.
Yes, Saturday night.
Okay.
So that Saturday night, they came around, actually the LOC people came around and they gave us these promises. In fact, when they started their talk, we were more interested in what they are coming to bring to us, but then they were just talking otherwise. So we actually forced them to say something to us. That's when they came in with the packaging staffs that we should just take heart. The next day, early in the morning, there will be buses, that will transfer us to the circle for everyone to get whatever transportation to go, and then the packages also what come along with it.
But prior to registering to be a volunteer,
Yeah.
Based on the information that was provided, did they indicate anywhere that they will give you something?
No.
So you joined in knowing that you will not get anything?
Exactly.
But on the night after the games, that's when they told you that they will give you packages that will blow your mind.
Exactly.
And for that reason, you were waiting for something to blow your mind.
Powerful.
And it appears that what blew your mind was contrary to what you were expecting.
It's true. So when the volunteers started, their demonstration, they quickly they came in with a text message on our platforms that all volunteers should report at the Legon Stadium for their money, and the amount was 200 cedis.
Okay.
Then quickly they got angry again. That now 200 cedis is not any amount.
The volunteers got angry?
Yes, because of the word 200 cedis.
Because of the 200 cedis?
Yes.
But was any money promised them?
No, please. No,
so when they were told they would be giving 200 cedis, then they got angry?
They got more angry.
And why did they get angry?
So apparently, many of them are coming from far, Wa, Bolga, and the rest. And, these 200 cedis cannot take them there. So that's how come the whole thing.
So, so this was what, on Monday?
On Monday.
On Monday.
Yes.
So the 200 cedis that was promised them, did you get yours?
Yes.
Did some of the volunteers take it?
Yeah, yes. Initially, we didn't want to take it. So some of our colleagues went for it, and the majority were like, no, you can't do that. They started chasing them away. Eventually, we have to take it because we had no option than to take it.
So eventually, they gave you 200 cedis?
Yes. We were given 200 cedis. And even before you could even get to that 200, access to the 200 cedis, very long queue. A whole lot of stuff.
So since then, have you gotten any communication, or that's the end of your relationship with the?
Yes. So today I was on campus just to see what's happening over there. But everything is cool. Most of them are gone. They've left home. Yes. So I think everything is under control.
So bottom line, you got 200 cedis
exactly
for volunteering.
Yes, please.
In the African Games.
Yeah.
All right. Right, thank you so much for making time, and just stay there, and of course we'll follow up on this and see, get more reactions for you on this very development. But let's head to the Black Stars now, because head coach Otuado has been speaking, and he says he's looking forward to finding solutions to the team's recent disciplinary issues following the end of the March international break. Ghana suffered 3 red cards in the 2 games they played during the international break, losing to Nigeria and drawing against Uganda. Now, Jeremy Opoku was sent off in the defeat to Nigeria, while Alidu Seidu and Mohamed Salisu also received a marching off others in their stalemates against Uganda. And this, Otuado says, needs to be rectified among the players. Now, let's speak to my colleague Fifi Manfred now, because he monitored the 2 friendlies the Black Stars were involved in, and he also paid close attention to that disciplinary issues that were raised by Otuado, along with some concerns about the team's inability to create chances. He's also been monitoring the team's performance in that regard. Fifi Manfred, good to have you. Been a while, but let's just get to it straight though. What have you observed about the Black Stars relative to their inability to create chances, and how worrying has this been in recent time for the team?
Thank you very much, Musbao. It's worrying. I mean, if you look at that in the context of the kind of games we have coming up, the big one against Mali in June, and then the games that we've seen in the last few weeks. You look at how Comoros did beat Uganda by 4-0, and we failed to beat them. You look at how Mali, whom we are going to meet in June, were beaten by Nigeria beat Nigeria 2-1. The Nigerian side beat us. And then you look at that in the context of the fact that we've not been able to win more than 2 games in the last 10 games that we've played in all competitions. That's actually worrying. But then again, in the context of what these friendly matches were and what we want to do with Otuado, generally the thought is that this is a developing process and a rebuilding process. And hence, that means that it's going to take some time. I took some positives as well as some negatives. And Otuado was very clear and verbatim with the negatives of his team. He said that with the things that they want to do now, he realized that they were going to make mistakes. They made mistakes from building up from the back. He realized that they didn't have enough composure up front to convert chances. They weren't able to create chances again for themselves. Maybe that is because maybe in these games we saw just some few new players playing in certain roles. Some regular players also playing in different roles that are new to them, like Ernest Appiah-Nyama played as a number 10 in the last game we played against Uganda. We saw in the first game against Nigeria, Antoine Semenyo playing off from the wings. He doesn't really play like that when he plays for the Black Stars. Usually he's playing more centrally. It is with his club side that he plays usually from out wide. Then we saw 2 young boys in Forsen Amankwa, and then of course Francis Abu, who were marshaled with the job of trying to build up from the back and connect the midfield and then the defense. It wasn't a bad job. Data-wise, this is a 2 set of players with skill set that we've consistently said that deserve the shout in the Black Stars, and I think that they were fairly okay. Of course, there was also Jerome Opoku, who looked very comfortable on the ball, very comfortable without the ball, very aggressive in his duels and battles generally. But then again, the general output, like Otuado summed it up, wasn't good enough, and there's a lot of development, a lot of stuff out to be done before June. And then the sad thing is that we are not going to meet again until that game in Bamako.
I mean, Fifi, there's been one, trending conversation regarding the Black Stars captain, Afriyie. Some have made very strong calls that he should be excluded from the team, etc. Let me just get your thoughts on that. Do you think it is time for the Black Stars to move on from some of these players and focus on these young talents that appear to be the future of the team? Is it time to engage in that exercise?
Well, I think that's what we are doing now. But it's all of that can be done in just one window. I don't think that it's a matter of time, quote and unquote. I think essentially it's about what we want at certain point in time, and if he's able to give us that. So the Germans just called Tony Cruz. Tony Cruz is 34 years. He plays still for Real Madrid because he gives them exactly what they want. So their coach has to ask himself, and the country has to be very clear. What do we want? What do we want from Afriyie? Do we want him to play 90 minutes? Of course, he can't give us that. Do we want him to play 50 minutes? Maybe he cannot give us that. But what else can he give the team? Again, in a rebuilding of a young team, you need to ease the young players in. It can't just be facing out 100% straight away the old guard and then bringing an entirely new squad. It has to be done systematically and with time. So I personally do not think that it's a question of, is it time? Should he go? Should he not go? I essentially think that if you look at Afriyie in the last few games that he has played for his club side, Le Havre, he hasn't been bad. In fact, he was the best player of the team in the months that had passed. But then again, in the context of the Black Stars, what exactly do we want for him? Do we want him for just the last 20 minutes? Do we want him for the 5 minutes? Do we want him for the general discipline and encouragement that he gives the boys? All of those things are important in those team dynamics. We need to be clear on exactly what went from him. In fact, one of the things that can help the player and the team and the coach general is for them to come clear on exactly what Afriyie's role is going to be. If he's not going to be a main player in the team, in one of those press conferences, the coach has to be verbatim on that because maybe I need A, B, C, D from you. That's why he's in the team. So that Ghanaians can be aligned, so that fans, because Black Stars fans are always going to be fans and they'll ask for results. And results are not coming from the captain. Definitely, they're going to pile up pressure on him. But we need to be very clear on what Afriyie would have to give us. And of course, I don't think it's just about time, whether he has to go, he has to stay.
Yeah, Fifi, just finally and very briefly, what next for the Black Stars now? What's the next, when will they be in action again?
June. We are back in the World Cup qualifiers against Mali. And mind you, the Malians are very, very strong. They played in the semi-finals of the last AFCON. We are going away to Bamako. It's a tough game for us to go and play away at Bamako. But yes, the Black Stars are going to break. They will meet, have some training sessions, and then go ahead to play that game in Bamako. It's a difficult game. But I mean, mind you, in the most recent, most difficult game that we played, the Black Stars, and Mozotu Ado at the helm. He looks as if he has what it takes to marshal and get the boys to get something maybe away at Bamako. So we'll wait to see how that goes. But there's a lot of work to do as well.
Yeah, Fifi, thank you very much. That's Fifi Manfred. He's based in Kumasi with our sister station, Ishara FM, and, has all the updates on the Black Stars. Let's wrap up with some update from the camp of Accra Heart of Oak, because they've nominated a new set of directors ahead of the club's annual general meeting. Now, the pair of Vincent Soa Odotai and Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo have been nominated to retain their positions on the board, while Professor Ajiman Bedu Akosa, a former flag bearer hopeful of the Convention People's Party, joins the new board pending shareholders' approval. Now, they're also joined by a chief executive of the Telecommunications Chamber, Ken Ashigbe. There was, however, no place for director Brahma Moro Akambi, and you could see some of the new board members there. Mrs. Ivy Howard Mills, who's a former justice of the Appeals Court of the Judiciary, and Samuel Inkum, who is a chartered accountant, not the former player, and of course Vincent Odotesoa Delali Anku Adiama, who is the general manager of the club, and Togbe Afede, the majority shareholder. These are the new board members who have been nominated, and at the annual general meeting that will be approved by the meeting, the members, the shareholders, basically. Well, that's all we have for you on Prime Sports Tonight with me, Razak Musbah. Thank you so much for your company. Up next is PM Express. We've got more stories for you on myjoyonline.com. Do have a wonderful evening.